So it really wasn't in my initial plans to talk about the Vancouver Canucks so early in the day. But because they are returning today against Toronto at 4 p.m. PST, we have to do a hype stream. We have to do a post-game video for that, meaning that this news that we have would be much better served if we placed it earlier in the day's schedule for our show here. And as a result, we're combining it with the Red Wings stuff because, hey, we're talking about prospects for Detroit. We're talking about prospects for Vancouver. I see no problems by combining them together and making a joint video that will attract both fan bases. So, before we get things underway, thank you to those in the previous Red Wings video who commented Danny DeKaiser. If you want a chance to be featured in the next one, stick around. We'll have two keywords for this one. One for the Vancouver guys, one for the Detroit guys. As for the Vancouver guys as well, hey, thank you to those in the comments of the JT Miller one who commented Anaheim Ducks. Again, if you want your chances at the next one, stick around to the end for the keywords. So, today we're talking about Red Wings guys, we're talking about Canucks guys. For the Red Wings, we have ourselves two SHL athletes lined up on the chopping block here today in Moritz Seider and Joe Veleno. And for the Vancouver side, we have ourselves talks on Vasili Podkolzin, and we're also going to be talking about Jonah Gadjovich as well. Let's start off with Detroit, though, because when it comes to what exactly there is to talk about with Red Wings prospects, one of the prospects was Lucas Raymond. The reason we talked about him is because he signed his contract for next season. That's a great thing because he was dubbed as one of the best prospects in the entire NHL by Craig Button. He was dubbed third behind Cole Caulfield and Moritz Seider, who is number one. We're talking about Seider here today because the 6'4" right-handed defenseman has actually been given his fair share of recognition in the SHL. Take a look at this. The SHL recently released a video talking about the top defensemen in the league, and the three guys who are nominated for what is essentially the Norris Trophy of Swedish hockey. Lo and behold, Moritz Seider is on this list. He is the youngest guy on this list by far, and alongside of Jesse Virtanen and Joel Persson, he makes up one of the three candidates, one of whom will get the award once the overall voting is set in stone. Now, Seider, for this season in the SHL, he finished up his year with 28 points in 41 games played, which for a guy who was 19 the entire season, he turned 20 like 2 weeks ago, that's absolutely crazy. The fact is, he displayed so much maturity offensively and defensively in the SHL this season that it really put him in a position where even though he's not one of the top producers in points for defensemen, take a look at the total list, he's in a pretty big tie, a three-way tie for 11th in the SHL in total D-man points. Obviously, he's one of the youngest guys over here, but the SHL has placed a very much bigger importance on not just offense, not just points, but defense and ability in your own zone as well, which is why, taking a look at the guys who are up here for this award, the best defenseman in the league, Seider is 12th in the league in points, Joel Persson is 3rd, you have Jesse Virtanen who is 1st, a lot of New York Rangers fans were upset that Nils Lundqvist, who is also a young guy, 6th in the league in points, was not given a chance at this award either. So overall, the fact that Moritz Seider, whose two-way game is so strong in the SHL already, is being recognized for that in the form of this award is a pretty good thing. But I want to talk a little bit about that third place guy, Persson. I remember Joel Persson a few years ago, back when he was still in the SHL doing his thing. I really wanted the Canucks to sign this guy back in like 2018. It didn't happen. He went to Edmonton, I believe, and then he went to Anaheim, and now he's back in Sweden, so good for him, I guess, for getting his career back on track. We have ourselves some more SHL-related Red Wings news I wanted to talk about, though. Joe Veleno, the guy who had been playing with the Malmö Redhawks this season, has been assigned to the Detroit Red Wings taxi squad from the AHL's Grand Rapids Griffins. Take a look at the tweet here from Max Boltman. It sounds like the plan right now is for Red Wings prospect Joe Veleno to join Detroit's taxi squad when his quarantine ends. I don't think he's quite out of the woods yet with concussion protocol, but it sounds like he'll accompany the team to Dallas on the taxi squad to practice. And hey, that's a great step over here for Joe effing Veleno. Yeah, that's the nickname. I didn't come up with it. That's just kind of what Red Wings fans say about this guy. So please don't flag me for content that is inappropriate. But 21 years old, 6'1", 194-pound center, a guy who wrapped up his season with the Redhawks at 20 points in 46 games played. Very good transitionary year. Going over to Sweden, expanding his game to a bigger ice surface, and actually learning the ropes over there. We've noted the entire time that Joe Veleno was one of these guys that was seen as a very capable two-way center, very good playmaking ability, good instincts and all that. He displayed all that and more to a very high level at the end of his QMJHL career. Last season, though, debuting in the Grand Rapids Griffin system, 23 points, 54 games, obviously not the best, but for a rookie, that's okay. And of course, now this season, seeing his development in the SHL is a good thing. We will see how exactly he is able to expand even more if he goes over to Detroit, practices with them. We'll see what the plan will be for 2021, 2022, should they decide to give him an extended look. But the fact that he is on the taxi squad, being with the team now, that in itself is a big deal. Let's go over to the Vancouver side now, though, because when it comes to guys in the AHL doing their thing, we spoke about Veleno. His production's pretty okay for a first-year guy. There's a player on the Vancouver Canucks prospect system that has absolutely exploded. And no, we're not talking about Cole Lind. That video's already been made. No. Instead, we're talking about the other guy the Vancouver Canucks took in the second round of the 2017 draft. This is the draft pick they got in exchange for John Tortorella from Columbus. Because remember, before when you would hire another team's head coach, you would be forced to give them draft pick compensation. And the Vancouver Canucks, with that Columbus second, took themselves Jonah Gadjovich. Now, Gadjovich was seen by many people as a very capable middle six kind of physical guy who creates a safe working environment for his teammates, who could score some gritty goals, and who can get into fights. For the most part in his OHL career, he was always hovering around that point per game, a little bit over a point per game-ish mark, kind of tailed off towards the end of his OHL career there. But in the AHL, he has had himself a rough go. In 2018-19, 10 points, 43 games played. Yeah, deployment was bad, the transition wasn't smooth, Canucks fans were frustrated. Next up, though, in 2019-20, hey, he improved. 17 points in 38 games played, 13 goals as well. A lot more goals than assists, so that kind of tells you a lot of the profile that Gadjovich was displaying at that point. 32 penalty minutes as well. But then you take a look at this season. Because in 13 games played, Jonah Gadgeovich is at 11 goals, 2 assists for 13 points. He's a point-per-game player. He was just barely at a goal a game a few days ago. He's a +2, and he's got 7 penalty minutes on the year. Take a look at the game log here, and you can see streaks where Gadjovich is out there scoring 5 goals in 3 games, 3 goals in 3 games, 2-goal games over and over again. The guy isn't really getting any assists, but when you take a look at the tape of what this guy is doing, he is finding himself in the slot, battling bodies, putting in loose pucks, garbage goals all around, and when he needs to, he can put in the eventual on-the-rush snipe that he was able to do a lot back when he was playing with Nick Suzuki and Petrus Palmu in the Owen Sound attack system a few years ago. Gadjovich has really taken a big step up, and it's honestly kind of scary how this came out of nowhere. This guy got 13 goals in 38 games last year. He's at 11 in 13 now. Talk about an explosion for development here. Utica's looking pretty good with Cole Lind and all them. Cole Lind actually getting recalled, so that's really good. But Gadjovich is down there too, doing his thing. And at 22 years old, hey, there's a lot to look forward to in this guy. Should he eventually become one of those players that gets called up, maybe gets an extended look at the NHL level, we will see. But for now, hey, that's pretty good. Speaking about guys who are hard-nosed, gritty, and who are coming over to the Vancouver Canucks, Vasili Podkolzin. He's not going to do that this year, sorry. But it's honestly for the better. After exploding at the KHL playoffs with a whole bunch of goals and a whole bunch of assists, it was eventually made public that Podkolzin would not re-sign with SKA and that he would be going to Vancouver soon. However, not with some unfinished business in Russian hockey. He's going to be going over to the World Championships because that is a part of his contract. And if you take a look at the quotes here from Podkolzin's agent, he will arrive in Vancouver no earlier than the middle of June. His contract goes on until April 30th, and he will fulfill it. Now Podkolzin is going to training camp with the national team. Everything is as it should be because he has no right to sign a contract with Vancouver right now. The Vancouver Canucks finish playing on May 16th, so it doesn't make sense to go there after May 1st, because first you need to get an immigrant visa at the Canadian Embassy, and that will take about a month. Then he'll have to quarantine, and with all that combined, he'll probably not actually be able to participate in anything before mid-June. So, what he's doing now, he's preparing for the national team. We're seeing Podkolzin for Team Russia later in the year. Not just like the World Junior Team Russia. No, this is like the main Team Russia of men. So he's going to be over there. He's going to be doing his thing. It's good because he's not going to come over here to Vancouver, waste away a year of his ELC, play on a team that is going to have a whole bunch of guys recovering from the virus, and potentially be on a squad that isn't even really primed towards winning anything in the next few weeks. So I'm good with this move, seeing him out in the World Championships and not having him come over to Vancouver until next season. Talk to me in the comments what you think about all of this stuff over here. If you're a Red Wings fan and you stuck around here to the end, thank you very much first and foremost. Comment down in the comments, gargoyles, because when I think of Grand Rapids Griffins, I think of Griffins and I think of gargoyles because of the old medieval kind of architecture. So comment that down in the comments for a chance to be featured in the next Red Wings video. If you're a Canucks fan sticking around here, comment down in the comments section below, blood, for a chance to be featured in the next one, because Jonah Gadjovich, when I think of this guy, I think of this picture right here, and that's a very bloody picture. It's a very imposing picture of the guy, and it's a very beautiful one, if I do say so myself. So talk to me in the comments what you think about all this stuff here. I hope you enjoyed this video, Trolls 99, and bye.